Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Mastering La Vida. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for being here with us. Can you do a little intro about you and what do you do in this beautiful island?
Oh, sure. So I'm Suzanne Vinegras, and I'm a certified life coach. And I live right here in beautiful
So
Catalina.
lucky.
So grateful. This is my morning therapy every day. This is how I start the day with a walk. But I am a life coach, so I work with people on whatever they're navigating, whatever struggles, whatever everyday situations they need to work through. Similar to therapy. And I've been doing that for the last 3 years. I offer one-on-one private coaching, but now I'm branching out into doing in-person coaching circles. And today I
So
get
lucky
to
that
talk
we have
with
you here.
you.
Yes, welcome to the
Thank you.
podcast. Thank you so much for coming with us and
Yeah.
helping us navigate a big topic that we have for today, which is boundaries.
My favorite topic.
Is it your favorite topic?
It's becoming my favorite
Okay.
topic. I find that it's so complex, but to try and simplify it and make it less intimidating for people, including myself, is really rewarding. I think we all need boundaries in our life.
And there is a big part of us saying no, right? Because I think that saying yes is like the common thing to do. And people tend to say like, oh, you're a very nice person because you say yes to everything. But
Yeah.
have you ever said yes when every part of you wanted to say no?
So many times.
So many times.
So many times. And your body is screaming on the
Okay.
inside. Your alarm bells are going off. But I think that, for anyone who's struggling to set boundaries, I just want to say, give yourself some grace. We have been taught to be kind, be polite, be quiet, be good, behave.
Especially us women. I feel like for
Especially as
us women,
yes,
stronger. Yeah.
absolutely. We've been socialized, if that's how you were raised as a girl, to be helpful and to not rock the boat and to not speak up and to not, misbehave. So I think that we interpret that as ignoring those alarms when your body's like, no, I don't want to do this, or no, I don't have the capacity to do this, or I don't think it's fair for me to do this. But we don't want to be rude. We don't want to be mean. We don't want to be selfish. So we say, sure,
I do it.
okay, no problem.
So one of the questions we have is how do we deal with that guilt of saying no to other people?
I think that boundaries are really misunderstood. Like we were just saying, it feels like we're being rude and we're being selfish and we're being mean. And that's what can cause the guilt. That thought in your head. So our thoughts are caused by our feelings. Excuse me, our feelings are caused by our thoughts. So if our thought is, oh my gosh, I am being so selfish right now, or like I should really do this to make them happy, that's gonna make you feel guilty. But if you can reframe it into I'm kindly caring for myself right now. If you're relaying it in a polite way, you're letting someone know, hey, I really can't help you with that this time, maybe next time. As long as you're not acting rudely or coming from a mean place, there's really no reason to feel guilty about that process. And that's another misconception. Self-care is selfish. But really we can only give what we have to give.
I feel like the generations coming after me have a little less guilt
Yes.
than the generation that probably when I come from.
I've noticed that as
We
well.
were raised more in a way of like helping people and
Yes.
being there for people, where this generation is about taking care of themselves first in order to help other people. And I
Yes.
think we were not putting our mask first. We were 100% putting the mask on some other people first, everybody else first,
Absolutely.
and then we were last.
I totally agree. I have noticed in the younger generation, in my son's generation, even the in between, right? The 20-year-olds. I do notice that I feel like they have self-care covered. I feel like they understand themselves and their needs better than we did. I didn't even know that I had needs.
Like, what is that?
No, like, what are your needs? Needs?
Me?
Me? Am I even here?
I'm allowed.
Yeah. I didn't know any of these things until I did coaching and therapy and work on myself to learn. But I think the younger generation is because there's so much more awareness around mental health, support, coaching. I think that they're exposed to more of these concepts of putting your needs first, putting your mask on, before you
Yeah.
can help others. But we didn't have that.
No, we didn't.
No.
No. And we were not able to understand it for a very long time.
And not only did we not have it, but we were actually told the opposite.
Yeah.
Stop your crying. I don't have time for this nonsense. It was like, stop causing a problem. Stop.
Sounds rough.
It was pretty rough. It was pretty
Sounds
rough. Now we're trying to undo
Yeah.
what was done. Yeah.
Do you think women struggle differently than men when it comes to boundaries?
This is a tough question. So, from a coaching perspective, I don't have any research on, the statistics of that. I think that traditionally, from just a kind of primitive perspective, I think our roles have always been different. I think traditionally women have been in charge of the emotional well-being of others, like our children, for example, or our partners. And I think men have traditionally been responsible for the protection, the safety, the providing for. And so I think that it's easier for them to compartmentalize and focus on the task at hand, where we are sometimes more worried about how everyone is going to feel about our decisions. Now, obviously, this is changing vastly. Roles have really changed.
Yeah.
So I think that anyone can struggle with boundaries. And really, the struggle is just that you're feeling that you are giving more than you have to give. And you're saying how your body is like
Yeah.
screaming when you're saying yes. That's your signal that anytime you have that alarm going off in your body, that's your signal that something's not okay here. Something about this does not feel okay to me, but I don't have the confidence to speak up for myself. Um, and I think that those alarms are so important to listen
Yeah.
to. Resentment can be a really helpful clue that you might need a boundary in place. If you're feeling resentful towards somebody else, let's say it's your partner, if you're having a lot of resentment and you're feeling that you're doing more than they're doing or you're giving more than they're giving, that's a signal to you that it might feel imbalanced.
That's very, very good to hear because I think I'm just gonna speak for myself. I'm not gonna speak for the rest of the world, but I think for myself, I have heard those words and I understand what they are, but taking the action and
Absolutely.
doing it,
Absolutely.
like you. Sometimes you don't even get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna take action.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. So I am a life coach, but I'm also a human. So I struggle with this as well. That's why it's one of my favorite topics. The more I can talk about it, the more I can practice it, the more I can remind myself how to actually do the thing. Because we know on paper, we know in theory,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't want to do this thing, but how am I going to say no?
Yeah.
But I think what we are speaking about in our generation, where we weren't really taught to speak up for ourselves, this is the first baby step, is to have awareness around when your body's trying to tell you something. When your body feels uncomfortable, your body's like tense, or you have knots in your stomach, or maybe your chest feels tight. That's that's information, but I always ignored that. Like, oh, just be normal, just
I
stop.
think people might say that. I think men don't feel a lot of the guilt that they feel. I feel they're able to set their boundaries like, hey, this is just
Yes.
for fun.
Yes, yes.
I don't want nothing serious,
Yes.
Like I'm just here for the good ride. But we women struggle to even say that. Like,
And I think when men do feel that, they don't show that. So there's a difference in expression as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Learning so much. What is the biggest misconception people have about that?
Okay,
in your
there
opinion?
there are so many misconceptions, and I think that's why I love talking about boundaries is when people first come to a coaching circle of mine or listen to maybe this podcast episode, I think they're coming in with a lot of misunderstanding about boundaries, and I think that's what makes them so scary.
Yeah.
Is we're thinking about them incorrectly because we weren't taught. So there are a lot of misconceptions around boundaries like um that you have to go around announcing your boundaries out loud or that boundaries, you can just say boundaries, as my son would say, and that counts as a boundary, which is not true. But the biggest misconception is that we're going to use boundaries to control other people's behavior, to get the person to stop doing the thing
Or start doing something.
or start doing the thing, which is more like an ultimatum. But it's not. It's not about that because honestly, we can't control other people. We can only control ourselves. So the way that boundaries can always work is if we decide what we are going to do. So let's say somebody's doing the thing, right?
Mm.
Let's say your phone keeps ringing late at night and this is frustrating you. It's interrupting your sleep. It's making you angry. It feels disrespectful and you keep telling maybe it's one specific person, you can't call me
At
after
midnight.
9 p.m. Well, guess what? They get drunk, they lose track of time, they don't think you'll mind, and they keep doing it. So you can't control them. What you can do is control you. So what can you do? You can turn your phone off at 9 p.m.
Disturb.
Do not disturb.
Yeah.
And that is a boundary.
No.
If they continue to call me after a certain time, I will turn off my phone. This way, your boundaries will always be successful. I always hear they're not respecting my boundaries. They're breaking my boundaries. It's not possible if you set them that
So how can someone tell if they have weak boundaries?
way.
How can you tell?
Yeah. So just like we talked about, if you're feeling something in your body that feels uncomfortable, if your alarm's going off, if you're feeling resentful, if you feel like you're giving more than you have to give, or maybe you're getting more than the other person. I heard something that I really loved on probably a podcast because I listen to so many of them. Um, is that in relationship, right? Friendship, romantic, family, it's not always going to be 100% reciprocal. It's not always going to be, I called you last time, now it's your turn to call me. I paid, now you pay. It might not always be perfectly even because there's going to be different seasons where you might need more than the other person. You might need more care. You might need more space. You might, if you're going through a loss, you have an important job interview. There's going to be life circumstances where it might be but as a whole, if you look at the whole relationship, is it fairly even? Do you feel like you're benefiting as much as they're benefiting? Do you feel like you're receiving as much as you're giving? Sometimes the answer is no. And that can cause resentment. And that's because you don't have any boundaries in place. I know. I know. It's
Let's
tough
stop
here.
here because I feel like I have in the past not have boundaries. And
Same with me.
now thinking back, I'm like, I have like he had boundaries. Like I'm talking about relationship, right?
Absolutely.
I'm like he had boundaries, like and there was no way I could like make it change the boundaries, right? But when it comes to me, I just came in and try to go around him and
Yeah.
try to fit into his life in a
Same
way
girl,
where
same. Same.
in
But
a way
but
that
here's what I
it will
want to
make it
say.
easier for them to think that you are easygoing, that you
Yes.
are a good woman, that you can
Yes.
give, that you are forgivable, that all those things that at the end it just makes me feel empty.
But here's what I want to say to that. I hope that you can look at that, and I'm going to say this to myself as much as to you. I hope you can look at that and have some forgiveness for yourself, have some grace around that. When people don't have strong boundaries, it's not because they're weak. It's not because they're a doormat. It's because they care deeply about people's
Yeah.
feelings. They're worried, they're nervous, they're anxious to disappoint other people. When we were younger in
Yeah.
relationships, nobody was teaching us
No,
this. And we were afraid for that person to
leave.
leave.
Mm.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
So we were going
Yeah.
to do whatever it takes.
Mm.
And I did that as well. And I look back on my past relationships with sometimes some embarrassment or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes some shame. And I have to say, give love to that younger version of yourself. Nobody taught her how to do
Yeah.
this, and here we are.
Well, hopefully this can help people. Let's put it general
That is
people
my goal. That is my goal.
to to be better and create their boundaries because I feel like it's important. It's very important.
And it's not selfish.
No, it's not.
There's never a time where it has to be, I used to think boundaries were like, standing up and
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
bitchy and mean and aggressive. And
Yeah.
that terrified me. That's not me. I can't do that.
That's never been me yet.
But knowing that there's a way to do it in a loving, kind, polite way really changed everything for me. Um, Thinking that I had to look somebody in their eyes and be really assertive terrified me. It gets easier with practice, but you don't have to do that. You can do it very kindly with love.
She leads me to this question about parents. Because
Yeah.
parents, I think, is one of those things that you feel like, oh, they brought me to this world. I
Mhm.
owe them so much. So how do you say no to a parent without feeling that you're disrespecting them or that you're not being what you're supposed to be as a son or daughter?
Respectful child. Yeah. Whenever I've asked this question in any different form, like, how do I tell the person I love this thing? I always say, what if you told them exactly that? What if you told them what I love you and I don't want you to think of me disrespectful, and this is what I need. And so that way they know that you're not being rude, that you do care about them. Because a lot of us, don't want to disrespect our parents. They did a lot for us or whatever the case. And so you can literally start out a boundary with, I love you and I really value our relationship. And I never want you to think that I'm disrespectful, but here's what I need you to know. I need you to know that I really can't have you stopping by my house unannounced. Or I really need you to know that whatever the situation is,
Yeah, yeah,
parents can really just,
yeah.
do some things.
I mean, I know I have two children, and then I put myself into their shoes, and then I feel like I need to become a respectful human being to them as much as I would like to. So I think it's the same as like people how we like
Exactly. Yeah.
goes perfectly into that. But with older generations, I feel like it's always going to be a problem because some of them will not understand that you have boundaries or that you are creating something different, right?
Absolutely. And as much as we didn't learn, they really didn't learn. They learned even less than what we learned. But here's the thing is with respect, you don't need anyone to understand or agree with or give you permission to have your boundaries. And if you set them properly with kindness and with love, and if it is coming from a genuine place of just caring for yourself, it's okay if sometimes people don't like it.
Yeah.
People are not always going to be like super excited about your boundaries.
So what do family healthy boundaries look like to you?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exact specifics, but I think as long as everybody feels like they're contributing equally, I think that uh, okay. So my son is on summer break. He's 15. He's sleeping all day. He's gaming all night. And I'm letting it be, right?
Yeah.
Which is tough for me. I want to create a schedule and rules, but he's a great kid. He's not getting into any trouble. But I did notice that because I'm so busy, I'm forgetting to have him contribute around the house. And I started to feel the feelings. I'm the only one who's taken out this trash. So I did something about it. Yesterday we sat down and it was, it was not out of anger. I didn't lecture him or yell at him. It was with love and kindness.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you're getting older. I can see how responsible and capable you are. Here are some expectations that I have. And he said, okay. Now, had I said, I am the only one who's doing this, you're doing nothing, how is he going to receive that?
Yeah, probably the same way.
As
Probably gonna
criticism.
react the same way.
Yeah,
Reactions being other reactions. for sure.
exactly.
What do you think is the difference between setting a boundary and trying to control your partner? We get into
Beautiful.
the
Beautiful question. It goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. We can't control other people, right? So I think it's important to think about your intention behind your boundary. What is your goal here? Is your goal to teach them a lesson, to get back at them, to make them feel as hurt as you feel? You might want to question that intention. If your boundary is to make sure that you solidify this relationship, that you keep this relationship solid, that's a beautiful intention, right? And from there, it's like, here's what I need. You can also say, here's what I need. What do you need? How can we meet in the middle, or how can we make this work for both of us?
Isn't it common that people just think about their needs and not like what their partner's needs?
It's actually more common for people to think about the other person's needs
Really?
and not their own.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so
It's not selfish. It's self-care. It's not selfish at all. It's
No.
never selfish to think about your needs.
But I started doing that, and I noticed I started to doing that now
Yeah.
more than before. I used to care more about what you need,
Well,
what the other
now
person
you're
needs.
evolving
Yeah.
and you're learning and you're growing, which is the goal,
Yeah.
right? I want to always be evolving, always
Mm.
growing. But we weren't given these kids. We didn't really know we had options, and we didn't even know we had needs. So now we're trying to, even out the scales a little bit.
Looking about friendships, because I think that's a very good topic. I think we have more friends than
Partners,
relationships.
yeah,
Partners. So,
right?
I mean, for me, like I have cultivated so well my friendships that for me
Yeah.
they're very important. Like some of them even become kind of like the family. So why do some friends fall apart when boundaries are, you know, um, introduced to them? Like,
Yeah. If you think of everything as information, right? So if you start setting boundaries when you didn't have boundaries in the past, that relationship may not have been what you thought it was. Now that you have boundaries in place and they're not into it, that's good information to have. Sometimes people, like family members, they're not used to you having boundaries. And I don't mean that they're always with bad intentions, but sometimes people will take advantage. They know you're always going to say yes. You start suddenly saying no, it's going to rock the boat a little bit,
yeah.
and they're not going to like it. But that's okay. That's okay. And if friendships fall off, sometimes that's a natural progression. That happened to me in my life because I started working on myself a lot. I started doing deep inner work, becoming a coach, doing therapy, all the different ways of getting support. And it changed me. I really prefer to spend my time with other people who are doing personal growth, growing.
Think that that's normal thing as we progress and we evolve as human beings, we change. And I think the people who stay with us are the ones that will probably are doing the same work, right? They're also saying, yes, already not only evolving but also adapting, right? Yes, we evolve and we adapt to new things as well.
My best friend and I have been friends for 43 years, I believe. I'd have to do the math on how old we are now, but we met in 7th grade
Wow.
and we were very different. we laugh now, like, how did we ever become friends?
Mm.
But over time, we've kind of grown in the same direction and we've cultivated this beautiful, really solid friendship. But I always say, like, we've been through too much to part ways now.
Yeah,
Like, you can't get rid of me by now. You know what I mean? Like, you know too
I
much.
know.
But it's because one thing that I love about her and I in our relationship is we help each other see a different perspective. I'll tell her about something and she'll shed some different light on it that I didn't think of. And same for me. So she sheds a lot of light on logical, factual things. And I shed a lot of light on empathy, personal, emotional situations. But we can learn from each other. And
Yeah, that's the beauty of
that's the
them.
beauty of it. Yeah.
I do have a best friend too. I met her when I was 14 and she's 16. And it's been going for all this time.
But you know, a different long-term friend recently asked me if I could do something for her, and I knew in my body the answer was no. And what I did, which is what I recommend, is I didn't answer her immediately. I had to sit on it for a minute. I had to kind of process what I was feeling. If I would have answered immediately, I would have made up a lengthy excuse of why I couldn't do it, or I would have done it and I didn't want to do it. I really wanted to say no, but I wanted to say no respectfully. She means a lot to me, and I waited a minute. I read the text 3 times before I responded. I read it. I couldn't even look at my phone for a little bit because I knew it was no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this thing that she's asking, but the way she asked me was, "Would you feel comfortable doing this?" So
Oh, okay.
I was able to say, "Actually, no." And she said, "No problem. I wasn't even going to ask you." And
Yeah.
she didn't freak out, and we're still
Oh,
friends.
that's great.
But I had to sit on it for a minute, and I highly recommend if you feel like those feelings, just give it a minute,
Yeah.
take some deep breaths, and just think for a minute.
Yeah.
Just think for a
I
minute.
think in my past, I have a lot of regret or learning
Yeah,
because I used to react
absolutely.
and that have changed. Now I take time to think things and I don't take like drastic decisions.
Yes.
I like to think about okay,
Yeah, think about how
yeah,
you really feel.
yeah.
Because sometimes your immediate response, and I think this younger generation thinks that you have to respond the minute you receive a message. You have to think about how do I really feel about this? What would happen if I did say yes? What would happen if I said, um, a client texted me for a last minute session. This is a hard one for me. I love my clients. I really want to be available, but I had to sit on it for a minute. And the truth is that I planned to be in that ocean. I already had it in my mind. I had it in my heart. I needed the water. So I sat on it for a minute and I said to her, I'm so sorry, but the ocean is calling me. Can we meet tomorrow? And she said, absolutely.
I love that you're honest about it because
Yeah,
a lot of people will come out with the lame excuse, right? And
exactly.
then I'm like, no, this is the truth. Like, this is what I'm feeling right
What helps me with that is having a team.
now.
I have to lead by example.
Okay. Yeah.
So whenever he's faced with something he doesn't want to do, we kind of have a joke and he'll say, oh, I have a dentist appointment that day. And I say, well, you don't have to make up a lie. And then I think, well, I better not make up any lies. We shouldn't have to lie.
No, we
We
shouldn't.
shouldn't
We
have
shouldn't.
to. We are allowed to have needs. We're allowed to have something else on our schedule. We're allowed to
To
need a
not
day
like
off.
to do things, right?
Exactly.
Like I don't like going line dancing, and I had to tell my friend I don't like going line dancing.
I don't like line
Even though
dancing
she
either.
comes, even though she comes and salsa dance with me, which it makes me feel like, oh, I have to say yes, but she
I
comes and
know.
do this for
I
me, right?
know.
But I really don't like line dancing. But I think I'm gonna try that.
You don't even have to like line dancing. I have a neighbor that invites me. I feel like every 2 to 3 days she's inviting me somewhere. We're different ages. We have different circles. We're very different people. And I generally don't want to go.
Yeah.
and I was making excuses. But now I just say, I don't think opera is my thing. I don't think I.
Which is good because now they know not to invite you to those things. Great.
She
Very
will
good to be
still invite
honest.
me all the time, and I just say, no thanks. No
I tried the
thanks.
line dancing once. I'd give it a shot.
At least you know from experience.
How do you think someone can protect their energy without isolating themselves?
That's a great question because, okay, so the reason I like to pause before I answer, the old version of me, the reason I should have been pausing was I would have said yes to everything. The new version of me will almost say no to everything. But that can be isolating, right? Yeah. If you start saying no to everything, next thing you know, you're just at home by yourself. I think that it's important to find what you do enjoy. Like you said, okay, I tried line dancing. I tried it. I don't like it. What do you like? How can you create, circles, communities, friend groups, or by yourself to do more of that? Then you're not isolating, But once you start getting the feel for setting boundaries, it'd be so empowering that you will possibly start saying no to everything. But maybe that's not your community. If you're saying no to everything, that's not your community. I can tell with my neighbor who I love, and I love our Lanai talks, and I love hanging out with her.
Yeah, I love my friends.
But it's not, that's not my community. So if you find yourself saying no all the time, that's probably not your community.
So if someone gets angry
Yes.
because we are setting a boundary,
Yes.
what did that tell us about that person?
Yeah, that is good information to have. It really depends on the situation, but it could tell you what their real intentions are or what their values are, what they are interpreting your relationship as, you know? If they're not willing to let you have your own wishes, your own opinions, your own needs, is that the relationship you want to be in? It might be an adjustment period. A family member who's usually used to, or an old friend who's used to saying yes all the time, it might take them a minute to come around, but maybe that means you're moving in different directions. Yeah. That's okay.
Why do so many successful women still struggle with saying no? Which you would think, like, yeah, you're very successful, and when you're in power, you're able to say no.
Well, successful women had to get there somehow, right? They had to power through. This is something else that we've been socialized to believe, that you can't take breaks. You have to power through. You have to ignore all of those red flags. You have to go, go, go. You have to be productive. Um, and sometimes in some spaces, in some cultures, in some communities, women have to work harder to get where they are. So it's possible that they're worried to say no because they don't want to lose out on opportunities. Um, and also, successful women are viewed as selfish and bitchy.
Ambitious.
Which ambitious is not a bad word.
It's a great thing.
But the connotation of it is like you're just clawing your way up there. And so it's possible, depending on the person, that they could be worried to continue to be perceived as, this selfish, like, person who clawed their way to the top.
Yeah.
But she might still want to say yes all the time. It's not always easy to say no.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I think even if you have already worked on yourself, there's gonna be somebody that's probably to say
Yes, I have this. I have a person. And it's funny because you would think that I teach this. I have all the tools. When you are activated, when your body is yelling at you, you're activated. This means that you're now in fight or flight. So your prefrontal cortex, the logical problem solving part of your brain, shuts off because your body needs to prepare for battle. And we don't have time. We can't expend any energy on thinking. We also can't expend any energy on digesting. So that'll shut off as well. No
Wow.
thinking, no digesting, just we're ready to bolt
Yeah.
or we're ready to fight. And so when you're activated, you can't think straight. There's nothing wrong with you. Your body's actually doing a very biological survival, mechanism, and it's functioning properly, but it's unfortunate because you really
Yeah.
need that brain.
Yeah.
So when I am in a very specific certain situation, I get activated suddenly, I forget all of these things. I forget all of these tools. And okay, just agreeing to things. That's why it's very important to take that pause. If you get a text or you're talking to somebody or you get an email or whatever the case, if you have the luxury of pausing to let this come back online to help you think logically. If you're a person, you can say, you know what? Let me think about that and I'll get back to you.
That's a good one. Do you think I already know the answer to this, but I'm still gonna ask. So can poor boundaries lead to like burnout, anxiety, and this?
100%. That's probably one of the key causes. Overwhelm is taking on more than you can
Yeah.
handle. And yeah, if not addressed, that resentment, that anger, that's all festering inside of you. When we're overwhelmed, one of the most common responses to overwhelm, and this is again biology, physiology, is shutdown. Um, so when you're feeling like you have too much going on, or you're doing more than you want to be doing, you're going to probably start becoming angry and mad at other people for giving you more.
Yeah.
Really, it's your responsibility to draw that line. A boundary is really, just think about a boundary like a property line. A boundary is really a line that only you can create. This is what I can handle. This is what I can't handle. I can take on this many things on my schedule. Those are going to have to wait till next week. I will do the laundry and the vacuuming. You're going to do the trash and
Yeah.
It's a line that you're going to draw.
Yeah. I think in the past I was the type of person that thought I could do everything
Oh, I can't.
without getting burnt. Without getting burnt.
That's the part.
Yeah.
That's
Because
the
I
part.
feel like everybody feel like they can manage and do whatever they need to do. But at the end, if you're like just saying yes to everything and trying to do everything, eventually you get it.
Without realizing it, in my marriage, I was trying to prove something, but to who, I'm not really sure. Nobody was asking this of me. My husband appreciated everything I did, always thanked me. I think it was like I really wanted to break a cycle or not be who I was raised by or whatever the case. But I was driving myself mad.
Yeah.
I was taking on way too much. I was volunteering for everything. I was, just piling on my to-do list every day. Even as a stay-at-home mom, I would just pile things on. I would create a lot of responsibilities, a lot of activities for my son, play dates, things. I think I just had something to prove, but really I was creating a lot of anxiety for myself and probably resentment too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like women can multitask. I feel like we are able to do multiple things at a great level.
Mm-hmm.
However, we don't think about the after
Yes.
part of that, right?
Exactly.
Because like I think men are really good when they're like, I'm just gonna focus on my work. I'm
Right.
gonna do my
One thing
best
at a
job
time.
at my job.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the greatest husband. I'm not gonna be the greatest dad, but I'm gonna provide for my family and I'm gonna give this 100%. Well, we are like, I have to be a good mom. I have to be a good wife. I also have to do good at work.
I
And I
have to keep in shape. I have to hydrate.
And we are giving 100 and everything. That is so
But
crazy.
the thing is, we're not. The thing is, we're not because you only have 100.
Yes.
So
So why do we feel like we are? Because maybe we're exhausted of doing everything or trying to do everything. Yeah, 100, but they probably ain't.
what if you only have 100? You got to divide it up by 20 or whatever.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really just learned something so interesting about multitasking, and it feels like you're doing two or more things at once. but actually your brain has to do something called switching. So it's actually switching without you noticing. It's actually switching. It has to kind of stop what it's doing and now switch back and forth. So you're actually losing time and focus between each task, and it's so much less efficient than if you focus on one thing at a time. But we're trying to do it all. Also, without getting too far out of my coaching lane, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but I've met with a lot of them.
Yeah.
It can really be a trauma response to not rely on other people, to only rely on yourself. I definitely fell into that category, have definitely experienced a lot of trauma in my past, and you gain the mentality that like you can't count on anybody else because they're just going to let you down. So you don't accept help from anybody, and you do it all yourself. So I was definitely that person.
Yeah, that's that's very good information. And I feel like a lot of people are gonna connect with us right now, especially women.
It's exhausting.
But honestly, I feel like I am learning from that. There, I feel like now I am able to be honest to other people and say, "Hey, my priority is this right now,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to achieve this goal." Like I went back to race, not
Good for
race,
you.
like almost a year, yeah, a year and a half.
Okay.
Of college, and I really wanted to get it done on a certain time, right? And so I'm pushing really hard to get it done on that time frame because I'm very goal oriented.
Why is that time frame important?
That's a very good. That's a very good question.
What happens if you don't do it in that time frame?
I feel like I work better if I have a goal with a date set. I'm not set on stone,
Like a deadline.
but I work better if I have a deadline.
Sure.
If I don't have deadlines, I tend to be like,
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes.
I'll get it done eventually.
Okay.
But if I set deadlines, I feel like I push into doing that. But my point with that was saying that I feel like I have learned from them that we can be good at everything. That we really can be honest, be like, hey, I am really not 100% on this right now.
Yeah.
Like it will help me if you kind of let me
Right.
do my goal instead of trying to also be if that person has.
Yes.
I don't know if
Because
that
you
makes
only have
sense.
100.
Because I only have 100.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
this is a priority for you.
but it feels a little selfish sometimes. I can't help to have that little selfish feeling come back to me and be like,
Yeah, and so those little feelings and those little thoughts that pop up are really good to explore.
Yeah.
Maybe write it out. Maybe write out your feelings, and then you'll say, "Oh, I didn't even realize I felt this way.
yeah,
Do I want to hold on to this, or do I want to let this go?" Maybe you want to hold on to it, but maybe you realize this is just your priority. There's nothing selfish about going after what you want.
yeah. But I also I wasn't able to understand that before.
No.
Right, like in my marriage, I feel like whenever he was doing his work and he had that as a priority, I was his backup, right? So I was like, I'll take care of the kids, I'll take care of the house,
Right.
I'll take care of the family, I'll do everything so you can prioritize your goal, right? So I was kind of like the cheerleader pump on in the back,
Yes.
just telling him, go for it, you can do it, and I got everything else, right? Which he was wrong, I think, because I wasn't even any of that for me. Like I was just being the backup for everything
Yeah.
without getting nothing back. So it created this empty hole
Yeah.
inside of me that I'm trying to deal with it now.
Yes, and that's a good signal. That empty hole is I'm not getting something that I want to be getting. And I don't know if you're familiar with Jay Shetty. I think we
Yes,
talked
yes, we
about
talk
this
about him.
before.
This
I
is
did share
so-
this with you.
Jay Shetty, if you watch.
Hey Jay,
Hey Jay.
my bro Jay.
He was like the person who inspired me to do this, all of those
Oh,
changes.
really?
Yeah, so I started listening to him. I think it was during COVID times.
Yeah, I listen to him also, and he's really inspiring. And I don't know if this is a quote he says all the time or if I heard it one time, but it really stuck with me. I use it with my clients and myself all the time. And it's what you seek from others, you must first provide for yourself. And I love this because it doesn't mean isolate yourself, never have anybody else around to meet your needs. But if you can provide yourself with your needs, you don't have to rely on something. You're not waiting around to get that thing that you've been wanting. Um, the life coach that I certified with, she always said, if you're getting upset that your partner's not remembering your birthday, remind them, hey, it's my birthday next week. I really want you to acknowledge it. You gotta make it happen for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think that's so important. I feel like we need to learn so much.
We're starting from scratch over here.
It's kind of like now in my 40s, I'm like relearning things. But I'm so glad that all of these conversations and all these influencers are talking about this and kind of giving like a better walk for the people who's coming into the world so they can have something better that we didn't have. Because imagine our grandparents, right? Like my grandma, she had zero boundaries.
Zero
She had
boundaries.
absolutely zero boundaries.
Mine as well. I watched my grandma have zero boundaries.
Like zero.
Mhm.
Like she will be last for
And my
absolutely
grandma was
everything.
so resentful. I
Yes,
could see
totally.
it in. I could see it with my grandparents. They're both from Portugal.
So angry.
I could see her just, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she had a lot of resentment. That
Yeah.
woman. My grandfather was a musician, Portuguese musician, and he had his community. He would go play music all the time. She hated it.
He was so happy.
He was living his
so
best
happy.
life.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun. All right, so we're gonna close with some rapid five questions.
Sure.
So I will make you the questions, and you will give me like just the answer, the first answer that
Quick
comes.
answer.
Okay. So this is actually really fun too. It's nothing related to this.
Okay.
But we can put something there. So what's the biggest boundary mistake people make?
I think trying to control other people. Yeah. Trying to change other people's behavior.
I think I've done that.
We've all done that. We're still doing it.
Is ghosting ever okay?
I think it depends on the situation. Obviously, I would want a whole deep dive into the scenario, but I think that it goes back to intention. If your intention is to teach them a lesson, to hurt them back, to cause them pain, get back at them, is that how you want to be showing up in the world? Is the intention to keep yourself safe and no other boundaries have worked, and this is the ultimate boundary where you have to separate yourself from somebody? Depends on the intention.
Is blocking someone healthy or immature?
Same answer as the other one. Yeah. It depends on your intention. Are you like, I'll show him, or I'm going to protect my peace?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boundaries are all about protecting your peace. They're not about the other person,
Yeah.
they're about you.
Can exes be friends?
That's a really hard question. Okay, well, in the vein of this topic, I would say if proper boundaries are put in place, if there's honesty about everyone's intention, because I have found in personal experiences, one person is interested, the other person thinks they're just friends. If there's open, honest discussion and they really truly just want to be friends and they have respect and boundaries.
And that's additional, but I think that goes with every woman and man relationship, even if
Yes.
it's not your ex.
Yes.
If you have
Oh,
healthy
exactly.
boundaries with that person will always be your friend.
Yes. I think commonly with, I don't want to just say men and women, but I mean, because it can be women and women if women are their interests, right? As long as everyone's on the same page and it's very clear what the boundaries of the relationship are. I've never found this cliche, but.
And the last one boundary everyone should start setting today.
Oh, good question. Okay, this will be personal for everybody, but I think the best way to start today is with a very baby step, something very small where the stakes are low. Like you're not going to go call up your mother-in-law and set some big bold boundary if this is your first time. You're going to start small. I'll use a really silly example. I sometimes feel overwhelmed, buried. I'm a solo parent. I'm a business owner. I'm, doing all the things. And sometimes my emails will pile, and I will get very often I get emails to take a survey or to review the product or to tell us how we did, and I delete them. It's a very low stakes boundary. I don't take I just don't have the time to do that unless I have something important to say. It's a low stakes boundary. I don't have to look them in their eyeballs and say no to them. They're not going to probably realize that I deleted it. They're not going to come at me with a reaction. So if you can start really small and say no in really small ways that are not going to feel very scary at first, practice, with practice, it'll get easier. And then you can face those bigger ones. And of course, if anybody needs, support on this, I'm here.
Yeah, so that comes to some of your information so they can find you on social media and reach out. Especially if you're here in Hawaii, tell us a little bit about the classes that you provide.
Absolutely. So I do provide virtual, private, one-on-one sessions to anyone who needs support. And I just want to say quickly that if anyone is thinking about working with a life coach, a therapist, a counselor, you don't have to have a specific problem happening. You don't have to be in the middle of a divorce. You don't have to be having a midlife crisis. You can just go for um, personal growth. You can go for just a neutral space to talk about things that are happening, to get that outside perspective. And now I've actually just started in-person coaching circles, which are very exciting here in Paulina. So for anybody who is on a walker, I would invite them to take a look at coming to in-person discussion. Actually, next week I am talking about setting boundaries.
All right.
Which is
So if you
fun.
are in the island,
Yes.
if you are interested in coming to the session, you can contact Suzanne.
Yeah.
And
So I am. My
join the
business
circle.
is Coaching with Suzanne, and my website is coachingwithsuzanne.me, and all the information is there.
Hey, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
too.
here.
It's
This
so
is
nice.
beautiful. This is a beautiful conversation. I hope you'll like it, enjoy it, share it, and send it to any of your friends and family. It'll be benefit anyone. Actually,
Yeah.
this benefits me.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I'll catch you guys next time.